Happy Monday, everybody. Good morning. Just making sure I run live there, and it looks like we're going. So, hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm Diane. Thanks for spending a little bit of your morning with me. I'm going to try not to jabber so much today because the cards that I'm doing, the one is going to take me a little bit of time, but I really like it, so I want to be able to show you some of the techniques that I used on it. So quickly, these were the cards on 15-Minute Friday on my YouTube channel. You can go back there and watch the replay if you like. This was using the new Delicate Dahlia stamp set, which is going to be a celebration stamp set beginning August 3rd with Stampin' Up. So, yeah, I don't know if you can see the colors really well on that. That's, here it is, the new freesia, fresh freesia. So those are out there. Oh, I guess you can see the color on the screen. On my laptop, it looked a little bit grayer. Really, it's a pretty purple. And this morning, I'm using Nature's Harvest. And I got to tell you, I started playing with this set yesterday evening to make my cards for today. And I could have kept playing up here with this all night. I really, really like this suite. And this is also going to be available beginning August the 3rd in the new holiday catalog. So my customers should receive their catalogs this week if you didn't get it over the weekend, so that you can start oohing and awing and planning what your little wish list is going to be. But remember, you can't start ordering until August 3rd. And with that, you also got the new celebration catalog where you can earn free product. So those are out and about. Reminder about the card buffet on August the 27th. Everybody should have gotten a flyer on that. And if you are new to my channel and you're interested in coming for the card buffet, you can email me at diane@bohostamper.com and I will get the information to you. Or if you're already aware of the information and you just want to make a reservation, you can do that also. Oh, I have sticky stuff everywhere. I was playing with everything yesterday. You wait until you see what all we're going to use. Okay, and I have this handy just in case I need to look something up. I have so many things sitting beside me on the floor right now so that I can grab it easily to show you. I have myself pretty much stuck in this seat, I'll tell you. So here's the first card that we're going to do. And this is using products from the Harvest Suite. And this is just, I chose very vanilla. You can use white cardstock, but I wanted to use a vanilla. And this is using some of the Cork paper that comes with this suite. Really fun stuff. I wasn't quite sure how I was going to like it. It's a nice, thin, very flexible piece of, I guess, I mean, it's like real cork, but it's on paper. So I have half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock that I have scored. And we'll fold that in half to make a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base. And right off, there it is. I was going to say, how did I lose my bone folder already? I hadn't even started. And this cork is going to be the matte on here. And I made the cork layer at 4 by 5 1/4. And that gives it just, I think it's 4 by 5 1/4. Oh, let me get my little not metric side. Yep, 4 by 5 1/4. And I made it a little bit smaller of a layer. I usually leave 1/8 of an inch border around, but I left 1/4 of an inch mainly because I want to get the most use out of this cork paper that I can. I want to get as many sheets as I can. And we'll use some of the crumb cake twine. I use the dies, Harvest dies, that come with this suite. And these dies, and these probably would coordinate beautifully with the Meadow dies. I meant to grab those out because I honestly wonder if I made room to put my new stamps down here so I could grab them quickly. Quiet Meadow. Is that what I'm thinking? Yep. Where are my Meadow dies? I think I pulled them up. There they are. Look at how well these would all go together. You could just cut flowers out of all of these dies and make a great little card background just with die cuts. So, like I said, anyways, that's something else to play with. I digress. I need to concentrate and work on our cards or I'll never get through it. Okay, so for this one, I had die cut out of the vanilla. I die cut one of the big green leafy pieces and one of, I'm not sure what these flowers, you can make them probably any color you want to. They could be blue for asters or whatever. I chose to use Bumblebee Yellow, only because that is one of the colors that coordinate with the Designer Series paper that comes with this suite. And so we're going to need Soft Succulent and a blending brush. Get my green brush. And the leafy one, I kind of wanted my stems to be a little bit darker than the tops of the plants. So that made it kind of easy to just start blending on the bottom and then working my way up. And it made the tops a little bit lighter. And then I just used my brush to fill in anything that I wanted to be a little bit darker. Oh no, I can't pick it up. This bottom a little bit darker. And there's one already to go. The second flower, I used also my Soft Succulent to do the stem clear up to my flower. Just use the tip of my brush. I saw, I did get to go to the Stamp Scrap Art Tour in Monroeville on Saturday. Maybe that's why I was so happy playing with this stuff yesterday. Maybe it just got my creativity juices flowing again. I don't know. Anyways, there was a set. I didn't get them. I got enough other stuff. I didn't get they were little teeny tiny blending brushes. So I'll have to watch for those again. because that would come in handy to do little parts right beside between the stem and the flower. And then I'm going to use my yellow brush with some bumblebee and do the tops of the flowers here. And you can do these as light or as dark as you want. Just be a little gentle so you don't rip your flowers off the stem. And a little bit more yellow. And then set that aside because we're going to use that again. I had a small piece of very vanilla scrap somewhere. Crumb cake ink. And from the stamp set, I used Thank You. Stamp my crumb cake on Very Vanilla. I just clean my chamois off here so that we could keep our stamps nice and neat. Had to clean that and my silicone mat. They were both pretty messy. And then we're going to die cut this as soon as there it is. See where I lay my dies. We have a small sentiment die here. And I'll just use a piece of washi to hold this in place so it doesn't move around on me. And grab a little baby boss. Sorry about the shaking there. And there's our greeting. Oh, keep that because I need that tape later. And now we can put the card together. So first I'm using some of my little twine to wrap around the base of the cork layer. And you just have to decide which side you want your floral image to be on. I put mine on the right. You may want to put yours on the left and put your greeting on the right. So then you would keep your tie a little bit more to the left. And again, that one I only wrap 2 times. I don't know what happened there. I almost always wrap 3. Do this one on the right. Because actually I think my other ones are all on the left. And I didn't want to pull this really tight because I didn't know if this cork would rip. And I don't want to test that because I like this cork paper. And then I just tied a little bow. I usually tie a knot first try to keep this a little bit snug around my layer. Again, I don't want to rip the cork paper. I feel like I could do it a little tighter with it not ripping. I don't know. And then just make a bow. It is a little loose. Should have done a little tighter. That's all right. I'll put some tear tape on the back of that to make sure that it doesn't come off once my card is complete. You can also use just a little bit of Scotch tape to hold that in place. Oh, it is pretty slack, isn't it? And now I can adhere this to my card base. Add a little more tape runner here. Sure my card's opening in the right direction. One of my 15-minute cards that I had done one Friday. When I went to do the inside afterwards, I found that I had put my front on upside down. So I had to take my card apart and redo it. Am I even up there? I can't really see. I hope so. Okay. And then I used a silicone mat to put some glue on the back of this so that I didn't get glue all over my cardboard or my table. Although, as I said, it looks like I did get some sticky up there. And I'm using some art glitter glue on this just because it's got such a fine little point on it. You can use whatever glue you have. I like this because it does dry clearer than Tombow. Tombow will sometimes leave a residue if you happen to get it on your card front. You'll be able to see it. So I didn't want that. And then I just slid this down under my tie where I wanted it to be. I am framed there, I hope. Sorry. Okay. And then this one. Yes, I buried my dimensionals here under my other card. Don't lose the bits. That's my extra special pretty one. Okay. And we'll just put some dimensionals on the back of these little flower buds. Yep, so hubby took me down to Monroeville Saturday because that's the, I don't know if I told you or not, that's the one where 376 is kind of a crazy road. People do not care how they drive. They are idiots. And they make me a nervous wreck. And then I did use just a little bit of glue down here on the stem. And where did I put my pin? Let's plug him back up. So he took me down to go to that craft tour. A lot of, I love going there and seeing the different cards that people have designed. And Stampin' Up! Is not represented there. They do not participate in those shows, at least not around here, they don't. And then line your flower up where you would like it to be. We'll put a couple dimensionals on the back of our thank you greeting. So it's kind of fun because I don't know if you are a Tim Holtz fan. I am. I love Tim Holtz design. I think he has really fun products, and they are different. And before I press this, I want to make sure I have it on straight. I do not. Straighten that up a little. And anyways, he's been coming out with, I think it's every month. Every month he comes out with a new ink color. And I happen to be, I'd forgotten all about it, being revealed at noon. And I happened to be in that booth when they turned on the big screen and Tim Holtz was going to announce the new color. So that was kind of exciting. It was like the big reveal, you know, and the guys working in the booth picked up the black curtains and brought out the baskets of ink, and it was fun. So the new color was Prize Blue, just in case you didn't get to see that. Really pretty blue. And these brushed metallic dots are also part of the suite. And there is bronze, copper, and gold, I believe it is. I love these. I will for sure get more of these things. These are great. Yeah, so what else did I see? I did do a little shopping. Got, oh, I wanted a rotary cutter. I found a rotary cutter. And some pixie spray. I wanted to try pixie spray on my, there's our first card, on my stencils. And pixie spray is sort of low tack adhesive to put on your stencils so that you can peel them up. And supposedly, I haven't tried it yet, they stay sticky for a while, so you don't have to spray it every time. But all right, and card 2, isn't that one pretty? Oh, my card 3 parts are falling all over. Okay. Card 2, I chose to make my echinacea a yellow rather than the purple cone flower. And I am using Soft Succulent, again, half of a 8.5 by 11 sheet, standard. Unless we're doing slimline, and I think I've only ever made one slimline card. And then this is out of the Designer Series paper in this suite. And I cut this one at 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, just leaving an 1/8 of an inch border. And I think that's upside down. Trying to look at the script. Yeah. You can't really read words in the script, but you can tell if the letters are upside down. And then a piece of Very Vanilla, which was, I think, 3 3/4 by 5. 3 3/4 by 5. And I stamped my image in crumb cake. Well, I guess I did put the flowers on the left on this one. I thought I had them all pretty much oriented towards the right, or justified towards the right, I should say. Okay. else did I find there? I don't know, it was kind of a busy craft supply. I had sent a donation into Huntington disease research, I think it was, and as a thank you, I got a box of crafty things, so I have a ton of stuff from that as well. Now, I'm going to give this one a second to dry, and then I'm using my water brush. And I thought about using alcohol ink on this, but evidently I have not ordered alcohol ink in the new colors because I didn't find them up there. So, yeah, so that wasn't going to happen. And so that's okay. Just using a water brush and my ink pad. This is easy enough to do and kind of looks like watercolor, which is a favorite, so I'm good with that. So my ink is a little heavier there, and I'll just squeeze a little bit of water into, not a lot, to lighten it up a little bit. And add a little bit of the lighter bumblebee to my petals. Not really lighter, I guess it's just watered down. I'm trying to keep the darker ink near the top of my flower where it would be darker going into the center of the flower. And so just colored in the rest of these little guys. Doing the same thing. Keeping the dark near my center. And on this one, I did some dark on the underneath petals. I'm not really trying to make it exact and true to life, but just to give it a little bit more interest. This is what I do a lot when we go camping if it's rainy or bad weather or something, or in the evening because it's really dark up there. It's not like you can go out and do anything in the mountains. So I'll take some of my stamped images in a water brush and I will paint in my images. And I am using, you saw that I stamped with just my crumb cake ink, so you can water brush with that even though the ink can spread. We're not using that much water, and this is just normal cardstock. I'm not using watercolor paper. Again, we're not saturating the paper. And then just by squeezing my water brush into a rag, I can get any excess yellow off of there because I need to do my little stems and leaves. So just squeeze the ink pad and it will squish some ink. Oh, got it fuzzy. It'll squish some ink into the lid. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this green. I'm using it at a fuller strength under the flower. just like watercolor, it does dry a little bit lighter. So I'm picking my dark spots first. And the Aqua Brushes, I believe, come in a pack of 3. This is the finer point one. And now I can dilute that a little bit and carry the ink the rest of the way. No Sissy up here today. I don't know why she's not up here crafting with us. Okay. And then I will squeeze my water to get clear water and clean my brush off. And we're going to add a little crumb cake to the centers of that. Should still have some. Again, keeping the darker color near the flower base, with the base of the center by the floor, by the petals. I can't talk while I'm doing this. How about that? And then just add a little water to my lid to make a lighter shade. And we'll just do some of the top of the cone. And that's it. Alrighty, this little thing away. I want to stamp my greeting in the soft succulent. And that's easier said than done. Oh, there it goes on the bottom. Silly goose. And I'm using thank you on this as well. I think I'm going to do that again. I got ink around the outside edge and I don't want it to smear my card. I tapped too hard. That's better. Tap, tap, tap. And my thank you. And then, pretty. We also have with this suite a pretty embossing folder that's called Timeworn Type. This looks sort of like it's been a letter or a script that's been peeled away. Very pretty. So when you use an embossing folder, there's a couple of things. There's a part on your folder that sticks up, and the other side is indented. So you have to decide. Some embossing folders are pretty either way. I wanted my letters to be embossed on the top of my card, so I want my Stampin' Up! Label on the top. And I did test this on scrap paper before I said that, because I have done this what I thought was the correct way in the past and ruined my card. We're going to use the Big Boss here. I'll put the handle this way. And because this is a 3D embossing folder, all we need is the base and then the embossing plate. You can see that I put my embossing folder with the folded edge in first, and then run that through my machine. And there's a reason for that. This does exert some pressure, obviously, or it wouldn't emboss and cut. And so that pressure can be strong enough to crack your embossing folder. So if you put it through with your open edges first, it can make enough pressure that it will crack the top of your folder. So make sure you're putting your folders through with the folded edge first, and at least that way some of the pressure is released. Just so you can save your tools and not ruin them. Yes. And then that is, I don't know, oh yeah, you can see the beautiful embossing on the background. Isn't that pretty? Love it. Okay, then one more little thing we're going to do here before we add this to our card. I use an old cardboard box here to do my splattering in. I'm using the soft succulent marker, and I'm using the brush end, and I'm just going to splatter off of my lid onto my card front. So you're not going where I'm asking you to go. I want some on the top. Not a lot, just a little. And then we can put our card together. So we have our Designer Series paper. And I did show that during my unpacking of my new products. We had some Cajun Craze, Bumblebee, Misty Moonlight, and the soft succulent here. I'm adding that to my card base. I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue on my card front panel, because now that I've embossed it, I've added texture, and just using a tape runner may not allow that to adhere well to the front. So liquid glue kind of gets down in the little nooks and crannies and center it on the front. And then you can add whatever gemstones, or you can use the square gems if you have them. I thought this looked a little bit elegant for the gems, so I went with the jewels, the jewelry. That's some jewelry. And there's card number 2. Pretty pretty. I like that one a lot, very much. Okay, the third one was the one that took me some time, but you know, I just figure I have all these products and I feel like I'm always rushing and I don't use them. So then what's the point of having them, right? The quick 15-minute cards is on Friday. So for Monday, I just decided to take my time and use some of the stuff that I had. And I'm really happy I did. I like the way it came out. And the only thing is, I did make it, well, it's Healing Thoughts. It's not necessarily a sympathy card, but I had said I was so tired of making sympathy cards. But I guess we always need them. Okay. Started with a piece of crumb cake to make my base, which I scored crooked. Look at that. I scored it crooked. Nice, nice, nice. I threw all my scraps on the floor from my crumb cake. See, I do keep these because I use them when making other cards. Don't waste my paper. Try not to. I try. 4 1/4. What was I scoring at? I have no idea. Maybe it wasn't a half a sheet. Maybe I grabbed a piece out that wasn't really cut for a card base. That could be too. And then this is also some Designer Series paper. And this one, oh, let me see, I did mark these down. This one was 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And before I adhere this, I wanted this card to look a little bit more vintagey. I'm not a big distresser person. I don't usually distress the edges of my paper that much, but for this card, that's the look I was going for. So brown, brown, brown. Where's my brown? Brown. My brown brush. And in some crumb cake, I just went around the edges of this Designer Series paper, giving it a little bit more of a vintagey look. This is another one of those cards. I found a couple on Pinterest that I really like, not necessarily with Stampin' Up! Products, but I love the layout of the card and how they're put together. And so anyways, this was one that I liked, and I think I saved it 2 or 3 times, so I must have really liked it. And by the time I got done, my card looked nothing like, well, I shouldn't say that. The vellum part, it did look like what I had saved. So we'll just set that aside for a minute. I took some vellum and then I heat embossed copper on the front of it. And sure I did. Our vellum is strong, I will say that. And I just tore a section of this off, like a piece of a torn letter is what I wanted on the front. So a couple tips only when you are heat embossing on vellum is to hold your heat gun a little bit away from the vellum. It can be done. If you see that you have some spots that did not melt all the way, heat it a little bit from the back. That'll help. And when you're done, when you see that the embossing powder has melted, take your gun away. Don't keep going over it and over it again, because then it just makes your vellum get all crinkly. And actually, I didn't do too bad on this, on that vellum. So then again, I used a little bit of the crumb cake and went around the edges of this, give it a little bit more of a time-worn look. Old, I wanted it to be old vellum-y looking. Vellum-y. Okay. And I'm not quite done with this, but I don't want to leave it open because I have the air on. I don't want it to dry out. And then I just took my bone folder and curled up my edges a little bit on a couple spots. Giving it a little bit of old paper look to it. Okay, that's going to get layered on here. One of the die cuts is that cone flower. This die does not match up to the stamp. There is a different die in there. This is just a flower alone by itself. All by itself. And green. Okay, so I need a green stem. This is the one I told you took a little bit. I used a lot of different products here. Yellow, purple. A little bit of green. And then to keep my flowers a little bit away from the center of my, I just did a journal page on botany. I should know what that's called, but I didn't really read it. I just cut out a little circle. I didn't care if it was scalloped, how big it was, how small, whatever. I just want to hide the center of that flower a little bit and then do the petals. And I'm doing those in Highland Heather. And remember, when you are using your blending brushes and the ink looks a little splattery, it does soak into the cardstock and smooth out. So you're not doing anything wrong. And then just the opposite. Use the bumblebee and I just use the negative piece of my paper. And it can overlap a little bit, but I really didn't want to get yellow down into the purple too much. And there's my flower. So the only thing with this flower was that it looked quite bright. And again, I'm going for a bit of an older look. So I went back with my crumb cake. This poor paper is just beat up. I went around the edge of this flower to take a little bit of that color off, tone it down a little bit, and add a little bit of worn look to it. Not a lot. I don't want to take away all of my purple. better. And then if you remember from several weeks ago, I played with All Things Fabulous. Oh, there's my little, I know my little mask went. I don't have enough ink on that one. All Things Fabulous. And that was the one where I had to kind of make my template so that I knew how I was doing it. This came with a a die set called Fabulous Floral Dies that cut out this really pretty lacy looking piece. I wanted to use really a doily, but the only doilies, paper doily, the only doilies that Stampin' Up! Has available now are vellum. And I didn't want to add a vellum doily because I just embossed on vellum. So I just cut a piece out of vanilla cardstock, and then I used some crumb cake, and again just went around and made that look a little bit older. I heat embossed with copper powder, sending healing thoughts, may nature's beauty bring peace to your soul. I'm going to put that. And then I needed one small piece of the crumb cake twine to tie around my flower. And we'll be able to put this one together. What's I gonna? Oh, I do want to mention that I have one special going on. When you order through Boho Stamper. So you do that either by using the shopping code that is provided on my website, or by picking me as your hostess, because of course if you shop with another host, they may be having a different special going on, and I will not know that. So if you order through July, $50 worth of product, you will receive a free pack of All the Trimmings ribbon combo. And that had Old Olive and Poppy Parade ribbon that was trimmed in gold. So you get that for free when you spend $50 pre-tax and shipping through my demonstrator store. So I'm going to add my Designer Series paper to my card base. And then beginning with the new catalog in August, if you order $50 or more, you'll get a free pack of these matte decorative dots. These are the ones that look like little candy dots. They're so cute. And I will send those out to you. And now I need to add this little piece that I wanted to look like a lace. And so again, I'm just using some glue. Oops, squeeze that a little bit hard. I didn't mean to. This little thing that I use is a silicone mat, and it is Stampin' Up. And I did just wash it because when you can put your glue on here and it will just dry. And it's actually quite fun if you don't have anything to do to sit and pick it off. You do that. So I just usually go along and brush off the little glue, and then when it gets real bad, take it in and wash it with some soap and water, and we're right back to a clean mat. So it's getting pretty bad. I just went and washed it in my chamois there before we got started today. Alrighty, I'm going to add this little bit of lacy cut paper. Kind of, let's see, I want it to be behind my parchment. good thing about this designer series paper is that it has a line, so I can kind of line it up and be straight. And because I'm covering up some of this parchment and it's embossed, it's pretty easy to hide my glue dots, because remember, vellum shows your adhesive, so there's not really a whole lot of way around that other than to strategically place your glue dots so that they're hidden a bit. And since this does have quite a bit of font on it, I'm lucky that I can hide it well. These glue dots are almost gone, but I have more. Make sure my writing is right side up. Did I do that on that green card? Remember? Got it right. Thank goodness. Okay. I don't like it when I do things and then realize later that it was upside down or backwards or inside out, whatever. Okay. Sure this is on here. And then I have my flower. And I used glue dots on that. So once I have this all put together, I just wanted to add a little bit more shimmer to it. And Stampin' Up! Used to sell what was called, this one's gold. Is it shimmer ink or shimmer all-purpose ink? Frost white, this one was gold, but I was using champagne mist. And for my first card, I took a little paintbrush and dipped it in there and splattered it. And then I kind of remembered I have shimmer mist in a spray. But do you think I can find it? No, I cannot. I've looked everywhere. And I have so many things out right now, trying to get ready for our workshops, that I'm not wasting any more time looking for it. So I knew that Tina Zink had told us one time how to make shimmer mist using that paint. And so I found her little tutorial on that, and it was just, I couldn't remember what she mixed with it. It's just alcohol, but of course, you know, a higher isopropyl alcohol, but a higher percent of alcohol in it than just your regular. It has to be, I think, at least 70%. And I have, I think, some 90 whatever percent from doing alcohol ink. So, oh, I didn't want to put it, turn this one, take this one off because it's going to go over my flower. So I mixed up a little bit of that in a bottle. And we're going to see how that works. Hopefully I don't get any big splatters because I did with the paintbrush. Which is what I was trying to avoid by okay. So let me get my box back up here, a little splatter box, paint. Stick that in there for a minute, and this is, no, let's move my Snoopy mug too because there's still some coffee in there and I don't feel like drinking some gold splatter, champagne splatter. Hold it back far. Oh, See, it's not really misting. Neither did my other one. This is the second. I hope it doesn't mess it up. Comes out in big splatters. It's alcohol, so I know it's going to dry quickly, but that's not the point. I wanted something that made a mist. Thank goodness it didn't make my ink run all over. And I know the alcohol dries. See, on this one I had a couple of big splotches that I had to kind of lift off, but it did leave a nice little shimmer over the card. All right, that's starting to dry. I don't want to hit it with my heat gun because of the vellum. I don't want to heat that up any more than need be. So these little spots will dry out, and then it leaves just a pretty little champagne-y color. I can't catch it here. Shimmer. I just really can't get it in the light to show you. But that's the third card. And I did it. I got those 3 done. I knew that last one was going to take a little bit of time. But for me, it was worth it because I like being able to use my embossing powders and my embossing folder and some of the blending brushes, all of the little tools that I accumulate. I wanted to be able to use them. So there are our cards for today. I hope they inspire you. And remember, if you need any help or have any questions with any of the products or any of the techniques, you can always reach out to me, and I will do whatever I can to help you out. I can get you your new catalog if you don't have one, and if you are interested in the upcoming workshops, I can help you get registered for those as well. So y'all just have a lovely rest of the day, and I do so appreciate you stopping by with me today. If you like the video, please, like and share. You really will help me out. And I will see you on Friday for 15-minute cards on a Friday on my YouTube channel. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful day.